Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. We are exactly 2 weeks outside of Election Day. And there was a decision made, and I think it was shock to many, happiness to the other half.
Well, I know you're using the term half loosely, but it was almost 75 million Americans that voted for a more conservative president. People got tired. People are tired, man. People are tired of all the craziness. So people have spoken, like they say.
Yeah, people have spoken.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Well, there's a lot to cover, so we're gonna do today's election recap, and so let's get into this.
Bring your tissues.
All right, everybody, welcome back, and here we go on our election recap episode. So, Joe, we got obviously we're 2 weeks out of it now, and everything is solidified, and in fact, Trump is picking his cabinet folks right now. So,
well, he's picked most of them, which is great. I see a lot of good. So here's the thing, as he's picking his people, you have the left. Right, the liberal side already starting. You're starting to see, like, he was arrested for this back in 1902, or this happened right, here. Yeah. He was accused of this. I mean, all these things are starting to come out, right? Which is, you expect it to happen.
Oh yeah.
And mainstream media never fails. They're there with all the facts according to them, and so I'm not surprised. But you look back in 2020, and you see the cabinet appointments then, right? And you're look, I'm not picking on anybody or anything, but my views on the Transformers, right? And you've picked them. He had that administration had picked some of the worst candidates for some of these positions in government. And what did the right side do? They didn't go crazy. They're like, they commented, which is still a God-given right. They made their opinions known, but they weren't out there trying to do this and that. You had the guy that was stealing luggage with the red lipstick, bald head, but dressed as a woman. I can't remember what cabinet position it held. Yeah, there was just so many things going on, right? They got busted in the Capitol Hill having sex in one of the chambers. There was a slew of things that was happening with the left side. We didn't bat an eye, right? It is what it is. That's the administration we have, and it just proved our point exactly to what we were trying to prove in the beginning of that presidential election. But no one really believed us. Everybody's like, you guys are just haters and blah blah blah. Well, we've had 4 years of that. So now that you have Trump picking all these cabinet members and these positions, you start thinking, man, this guy's serious. You really took some time, and he's like, you got some great selections that he's made. One of the favorite ones for me is Tulsi Gabbard. I think she's great.
Yeah. Director of National Intelligence.
Yeah, man. I'm like, wow. What wasn't Clinton saying she was a Russian asset? I wonder how that's gonna pan out. You know what I mean? But there's just so many things that you could tell, to me at least, that he's been putting people like, hey, you know what? They talked about you about this, or I'm going to put you in that position. And he's not doing it because this is my personal view. I don't think he's doing it because he's going after people, because he said that last time he went after nobody. Right. I think he's putting them in that position to say, this is what you talked about them, and look at the great job they're doing now. Right. And I think, and I'm hoping that he's setting up this young cabinet appointments, because he's setting the future up and saying, look, man, this is what conservatives could do for you as a running body of government So let's keep voting for them. And I got this young group behind me now, and they're the future because he's not coming back. That's done. His second term, he's done. And
Right.
and he's preparing for the future.
No, he's getting. We're never going to get to vote again. He's taking over the world.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, I
like he did
apologize.
the first 4 years.
Yeah.
All they can bring up with that is January 6th. That's all they can.
And I hope
bring up.
I hope he lets everyone go, except the people that really did create chaos and were criminals. Hold them accountable. Everybody else,
Absolutely.
Let them go.
Yep. You know what? I've talked to a few conservatives that are happy about the Trump victory, the Trump victory dance.
Oh, I love that.
And they, all of us agree 100% exactly what you just said, man. Those people from January 6th, because they're saying, well, who was it that had brought it up, said, I hope when Trump gets in, he pardons all of those people. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't at all. Now, the people that were just there,
Yeah.
like, what was the one Proud Boy guy? He wasn't even there.
No.
They went to his house and like arrested him, and
it was an excuse. It was an excuse to get him.
Total excuse.
Yeah.
These people, like that one older lady that's was just walking around there, but because they could identify her, right? They had her arrested. So you got a lot of people like that didn't do anything. Now, the people that were carving into desks and breaking stuff and all that stuff, whether I disagree with them spending 20 years in jail, right? No. I mean, you got people that, the whole jail and prison system. There's people that have done
not because I lived there. Okay, I worked there. Didn't live there.
And people that have done a lot worse things, man, that get out in a much shorter time, right?
Oh yeah.
But I still think those people that damaged anything, if they hurt anybody, stole, absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether it's big fines, jail time, which at this point, man, most of those people I think have done the jail time.
Yeah, I think at this point, I almost agree about releasing everybody unless it, minor crimes, like property damaging like that. I think time served is good. Let them loose. Send out a stern warning about that in the future happening, and just move on.
Absolutely.
I think it's important, but I think people should have a right to protest, but in a calm way. I don't agree with how they did that, although video now kind of shows that they were kind of walked through there, so either way, hey, if you want to have a peaceful takeover about something, go right ahead. How many times has the left side gone in Capitol Hill and taken over that place? We don't care. We're like, hey, God-given right. Don't damage anything. Now, if they damage anything, do we expect the same treatment? Absolutely. What happened to all the BLM and all those other protesters during those, the riots that were happening back then in Minneapolis and Portland and all those other places? Nothing. They got away with a lot of crimes.
Well, in fact, the lady that was running for the presidential position actually helped to raise money to get those people out of jail and stuff. So that was,
we unburden the
yeah, that can't be said enough. So I don't know, was it today or was it yesterday? I believe it was today. Mohammed Oz. So Dr. Oz was Trump's putting him as the Medicare and Medicaid administrator.
Awesome.
And so,
but I can't wait though. But let me tell you about the mainstream media. They're making these people be like, the guy's a daytime show host. Well, he's a doctor first, and if you don't remember, he was trying to run for government as well.
Yeah.
So they're talking about
and who beat him?
Yeah. Right. But he's putting people that have background, that know what they're doing, and I think will do a great job. And I think you should just, people need to calm down a bit. People are losing their mind with some of these picks, and I'm like, all right, man, did we forget he was already president once? He served 4 years, and our government was fine. Like, did we forget all that, or was that deja vu? Did you guys actually leave the country? No, you stayed and enjoyed the benefits along with the rest of the Americans. And I just think that last time he was new to the position, he was driven by lobbyists in as far as cabinet positions and who to put there. Half of them betrayed him, right, because they were planted in there. He did things differently. He learned from his mistakes because that's what business people do. And now he's picking people that he's had close ties that I'm sure that he's monitored along the way in his campaigning, saying, okay, were these people talking about me? Did they really, what side? Even if they talked about him, he listened. He played it out. Look at JD Vance. He talked about him, right?
Right.
He changed his
Yep.
position. Trump didn't make a big deal about it. Like, hey, man, people have a hard time with me. He gets it, right? But once they get to know him and understand him, they're like, oh, dude, we were totally wrong about you.
Right.
So he doesn't hold people back just because they didn't like him or they weren't best buds, but I think he's putting, just like a businessman, he might not like some of these people, but he knows they'll do a great job in that position.
Yeah.
I think that that's the one benefit about having a non-politician in that presidency, is the fact that this guy's a businessman and he knows what's good for
Yeah.
business.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. People were going crazy because of Pete Hegseth,
Oh, the
that
Fox, the
yeah,
Fox guy.
because yeah, so he's going to be defense secretary, right?
Love it.
And they were all going nuts because they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's this guy on Fox News," and it's like, well, you realize he's been to he's got his master's through Harvard, bachelor's at Princeton. He's a National Guard officer. I
He was
mean, he's been
deployed in
in
Afghanistan and a
he
couple
was
of places.
deployed, and it's like all they can focus on is that he is a Fox News contributor, right? And it's like now they're going to go nuts because Sean Duffy, who's on Fox also, but he's been a politician, he's a prosecutor, he's done sports commentation and everything. He's going to be the Secretary of Transportation. So it's but
Oh,
they're
what
going
happened?
nuts.
What happened, buddy? Bill Blasio, whatever his name was.
Yeah,
He was such a good such a good secretary that wasted all those monies in EV stations. Remember,
the EV stations. What was the amount of money they spent and only opened
8
like 8
billion or
of them?
something like that. Some
Wow.
ridiculous amount. I can't remember specifics, but I know it was like a ridiculous amount for like only 8 stations.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, how about the latest thing that's going on? Did you hear about that? Joe Scarborough, is that his name, from Morning Joe?
Yeah. Yeah.
The one of the him and whatever her name is, Trina T. I don't know her name. Anyway, the co-host
starts with a K. Yeah. Yeah.
his haters of Trump talked all kinds of trash. Guess who went to Mar-a-Lago to meet with him?
Oh yeah. Her name's Mika.
Mika. Is that short for Michaela?
I don't know. Yeah, they went there begging for. Well, brother, their ratings are so far down. I mean, we don't have that many followers.
They're trying to put everything back together.
Oh,
Well, the truth of the matter is this: people are waking up to the fact that the people have spoken. The people are tired of the lies. They're tired of all the hate. They're tired of just Allah's whole thing while running for president was just hating on Trump. Like, she never presented any help. The American people were talking to her. They were telling her, "Hey, what are you going to do in New York? What are you going to do in Chicago with all these illegal aliens? With us, the crime increasing, with all these things happening, not just at the East Coast, but everywhere in our nation, as our populace grows because of all the influx of illegal immigrants. What are you going to do about that?" There was never an answer. And Trump was always honest about it from the get-go. He said it in his first campaign, mass deportation, right? And he did it. We deported people back. I mean, clearly not as much as Obama or Clinton, I should say, but he still got people out. He's doing it again. And the law's the law, and I agree 100%. If people, come on, man, all the Mexicans showed up for this vote. They put Trump back in office.
Yeah.
Because they see how, think about it, years and years to try to be here legally, thousands of dollars, and you're just being stepped over by this influx of illegal aliens who've, in fact, pay nothing but are given money. Anybody else that's been in the process of trying to become natural citizen. What do they call that? I can't forget. But anyway, just to become a naturalized citizen. There you go. They're what do? They spent all that money, spent years waiting, they spent all this time, and these people are just coming over and just, oh yeah, go ahead, you're fine. Here's this money, here's this card, here's a phone, here's a credit card.
Right.
We'll call you guys, but meantime, just go hang out somewhere. As long as it's not Martha's Vineyard, hang out anywhere else. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, people don't trust the government, and it's in anything anymore, man. And the thing is, one of the so there was a lot of failure points, right, with the Democrats during their running of the election.
Mhm.
One is they probably put in one of the least desirable candidates you could have, and the left's trying to spin it that the reason that she wasn't picked was because she was black or she was a female or both of those things, and it's like, no, that's, I mean, you guys yourself,
She's a
when you
dumper.
had the Democrat primaries for president, she was on stage and she got kicked out, right?
Yeah.
Early on. Dude, Tulsi Gabbard beat her.
Yeah.
So, and guess what side she's on now, right? Because they did the same thing to Tulsi that they did to Bernie, and the
Kennedy.
anybody, yeah, and Kennedy, yeah, anybody that does not toe the line with them is done, and you got to really start to think about that. So,
That almost sounds like a dictatorship, Jay.
it does, doesn't it?
Crazy.
Doesn't it? So last Friday, so this keys into everything that's going on with the election and how money fraud and, I don't want to say laundering, but that's what's happening. I mean, this money that's being sent over to Ukraine and everything. So this last Friday, the Pentagon failed its 7th consecutive audit as the agency was unable to fully account for its massive $824 billion budget. $824 billion budget.
Stop. You're shocking me. Stop.
Yeah. So officials were confident the Department of Defense had turned a corner in understanding its budgetary challenges going forward. The audit resulted in a disclaimer of opinion, which means auditors were provided with insufficient information to form an accurate opinion of the accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So what? How many businesses do you know? So 824 billion. How many businesses do you know that over 7 years could be short $1 million? Over 7 years would stay in business? I'll wait.
Yeah.
Not a single one,
Yeah.
right? Not a single company. And the thing is that that is the problem with government, is that all government, right? What do they do? And this goes for city and county and state along with federal. They have to spend up to what they spent last year in order to keep that budget for the next year. Because
Correct.
what cities do is they reverse the budget. So, oh, you didn't spend that much? Well, we're going to take
reduce it. Yeah.
Reduce it. So that's completely backwards from what any business would do, right? A business is always trying to your ROI, right?
So you don't
And
get
your
more if you
P&L,
lose it. You don't get more if you lose it. Is that how it works?
No.
Oh
no.
Okay. Well.
So they're completely backwards, right? You got to spend. That's why this time of year, and everybody look around, November and December, usually starting sometime in October, November and December. Look around. There's road work everywhere. There's all kinds of weird stuff going on. Why? Because
Spending
the
that money.
they got to spend that money before a fiscal year ends. And for most cities, it's different, but usually I think it ends around in February or something like that. It just obviously depends on city, county, and all that. But yeah, they're trying to spend the money before end of year for them, fiscal year, and so they can get that amount of money the next year. Whether you go in the hole or not, that doesn't. They're not worried about that. They're
Right.
worried about getting their funding for the next year.
Yeah.
So this is the
year.
thing. This is why you have, and these are the two guys that are driving everybody nuts, and that is Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. They are going to be part of the new department called DOGE, right? And what is it? Department of Government Efficiency.
Efficiency. Yeah. So here's the thing, though. In the real world, the Pentagon would have been shut already. It would have been bankrupt several times over and shut down because it's not a profit.
Right.
I understand it's government, and it's not a profitable entity. However, when you're losing that much money, you're bankrupt. So my question is, where is that money? Where's it going to? How, and is that going into like a black ops? Is that going into like, hey, we're saying it's going to the government, to the Pentagon, but it's really going to be rerouted back to the government to do something else? Where is that money? And as American citizens, are we entitled to have accountability of that much money, especially from our defense agencies? I think so. I think it's important. Now, if it's a black ops operation, I understand, but no black ops operation costs that much money,
No.
and
multiple ones probably do.
Correct. But this has happened years and years and years over and over again. So that's a lot of money. That's a lot of black ops. You know what I mean? Unless what they're doing is siphoning this money back to Ukraine because we're not voting for, because we keep blocking it in Congress.
Right.
That could be another. I don't know. But the thing is, as long as we have no accountability, we don't know what's going on. But again, Elon Musk and Vivek, when they go in there, these are the kind of things that us as American citizens are going to keep looking an eye out. So like, what are you guys going to do? I mean, we're paying for buildings that are not used. We're paying for equipment that we never use or obsolete, wasting funds. They're nickel and diming the government, the U.S. government. And this is all money that could be siphoned back into the communities, back into its citizens, right? Back into different things and programs that would benefit the American people, and not the politician, not the bureaucrats. You know what I mean? And that's honestly what people are tired of, is the bureaucracy that's happening.
Absolutely.
Here.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the things Vivek has already spoken on that. So him and Elon have been, they have been working on, so it's not finalized or anything like that, but Elon is going to have some kind of system where, whether it's a website, an app, something like that, that every U.S. citizen can get on and see currently, and they're going to list it. Brother, I think this is like the most brilliant, great thing. They're going to list in order of the most ridiculous spending down. So that's number one. Yeah. So your whatever organization it is in the government, number one, you are overspending and have just all kinds of fat in there and everything else, and you're number one, and number two is the next worst, and number three, and all the way down the line.
Wow, it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah. And so think about that, man. If you work in the public sector anywhere, right, you're in sales, you're in, I don't know, any kind of work, they're gonna judge you and your end of the year review and your raise and your bonuses and all these kind of things based on
your position, hopefully.
Yeah, well, and how you perform. I've worked for companies for years, and you got to look at your P&L and how your performance is on that. And so if you were short and all this, all through the year, and weren't making money, you're losing money left and right, but you continue to hire people, are they going to bonus you out and, be satisfied with your work at the end of the year? Absolutely not. So, but government's completely the opposite. It's one of those things. I've asked this question so many times. So if you ask, because they always threaten about government shutdowns, right? We're going to shut the government down and all this kind of stuff. So what happens if we go to war? Right. And we literally have to go to war, and you got to, and we say, yeah, but happens to be at a time when we're at a government shutdown and all this kind of stuff. You ask any of the people of no in the government, hierarchy, and they're going to tell you, well, that doesn't matter because we can just print money. We can basically, it's just like the debt ceiling. They just get together and raise it and say, oh yeah, we'll just raise it and no big deal. We'll make more money. Why do we pay taxes? If the money can just be printed, and if they will never technically run out of money, regardless if we pay enough taxes or not, because at one point our debt deficit will be greater than the tax revenue we make, right? That the people are, and so how far are you going to raise taxes, right, to quote unquote pay for that? Well, there's no way we're paying for all this stuff, right? No way.
We'll dump that tea again in Boston. Make me do it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy to think that was over,
4%,
3%. It was 2 and change, but basically a 3% tax, and now we're at, the average person's over 40.
40%.
Yes,
I need to start paying taxes. It's been a while.
I don't know.
I'm hoping for the IRS to be dismantled, and I'd be like, I'm good.
Yeah, right. That was kind of like the Morning Joe thing when they were talking about butter, and she was like, it's $7, and he's like, I paid like $3. She's like, where are you buying your butter at? It hasn't been $3 for a long time.
You know what? It'd be awesome if they start holding these head of these departments who are funneling money or doing stuff like that, charging them with embezzlement. Why? Because it's our money that's entrusted to them, right?
They're fiduciaries, right? Yeah.
And and they're not taking care of it. They're not financially responsible for it. So we should charge them with embezzlement,
dude. So
awesome.
when my dad was at the end of towards the end of his life, I had somebody from the VA come to the house, and this is not a knock on the VA or anything like that, but they had me sign paperwork and everything, and I became a fiduciary, right? I was responsible for my dad's finances at the end of his life because he was going through the dementia thing and everything. Correct. And couldn't handle his finances. Thank God we had like taken care of that like a couple years prior when he still had some faculties to be able to sign some paperwork at the bank and all that kind of stuff. But when the VA's there, they're having me sign stuff, and they're like, they almost treated me like a criminal or something like that. If this, if you misspend funds and stuff that are meant for him, you can be fined and or go to jail.
Yeah.
And dude, you're talking about like the money he was getting in. I mean, it was such a, comparatively like in the couples of $1,000 a month kind of thing. Right. And this was to pay for his care and everything. So it wouldn't have done me any good to take $2,000 from him, because I would have had to pay for it somewhere else anyways, out of my, which I did in the very beginning before
it started coming in the payments. Yeah.
So you're going to tell me let's just round it and say it's $2,000 a month. You're going to fine and or put somebody in jail for taking that amount of money from their own family member, right? Yet somebody that is in charge of billions of dollars, and it is just gone out the window, and there is zero accountability for that. That doesn't make any sense.
Make it make
sense. Yeah, make it make sense. So you said something earlier about that money making a circle around. I 100%, and I've used this analogy a bunch to explain to people. It's the simplest thing. We have all seen these advertisements for these glass companies, right? You have a crack on your front windshield, and they say, we'll replace the glass on your car, and we'll give you $100 gift card to whatever, Best Buy, whatever your local grocery store is. We'll give you $100 gift card or Visa gift card or whatever. Now, how do they do that? So the windshield is like $300. They're going to charge your insurance company like $500. They're going to give you $100 back in a gift card, and they're going to pocket $100. Obviously, those are really round numbers that, everything's going to go a little different from there. But so what did they kind of essentially do? They committed kind of like a insurance fraud, right? Yeah. I don't know how they get around all this. There's somebody put in the comments if you know how they get around this kind of stuff. But basically, they're charging the insurance company more because they can say the glass and the install cost as much as they want it to, right? And then because they are not giving you $100 gift card out of their good graces, right? Yeah. That's coming out of the money from the insurance company. If you can visualize that and see how that happens. So I do get the glass, right, installed in my car, and I get $100 back, right? And that company makes their money and everything else. So we send a bunch of money to Ukraine, and who gets that money sent to Ukraine? Well, the House holds the purse strings, right? So those people vote for it, and the ones that were a little tougher to get them to vote for it, all of a sudden they get a free vacation to, the Bahamas or something like that. And a lot of that money can be coming right back to the United States. So it was taxpayer dollars that you can't just give to people, but once it hits another country, and of course the Pentagon can't account for, what was it, 840 something billion dollars. How much of that came right back here into the pockets of, deceitful people? So I am so happy that Elon and Vivek are going to be starting the Department of Government Efficiency. I mean, it's great. And here is the really cool thing. They are going to disband it. They want to be able to get everything done by July 4th, right? And next year, the following year. And the reason is because we are going to be celebrating, the United States will be celebrating its anniversary, right?
A year-long celebration.
Year-long celebration, yeah. So the whole reason they are going in there, doing this, and getting right back out. From what I understand, and this is not 100%. I haven't got any proof. I've been trying to look for it online, but both Elon and Vivek are not going to take any kind of salary for this, right?
Really?
So they're going to be running this position. Yeah, and here's the crazy thing. So Trump has been paying out of his pocket this startup team, right? So like the Tulsi Gabbards of the world and
Transition team.
all the transition team. Yeah. So, and Nancy Pelosi made a big deal about that, saying, it's supposed to be paid for by the taxpayers. And see, and that's the thing is that,
No, it's lobbyists.
and well, there's the problem is
It's a
because,
lobbyist that picked those people or helped
yeah,
him pick those people. That's what got
that's right.
that's why half of his cabinet last time turned on him, because they were picked by those people that have underlying what do you call it? Plans. You know what I mean? They had
Yeah.
things
Oh,
that
yeah.
they wanted, didn't come to fruition because Trump's like, nah, we're not doing that. Right? He's for the American people, and so most of these people turned on him, including his vice
Right.
president. But now that's not going to happen. Why? Because he's literally handpicked himself, these people, and he's had them around him for a while. So I think that's a strategy in itself. I don't know if you've seen him.
Right.
He was a UFC. They're like all over the place together, like this team, this dream team, the Avengers, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's doing that for a reason. I think he wants to keep these people close to him. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Trump is he's not a. People think because of his bankruptcies, which was a strategy, right, to keep his company going, right? Because
Right.
there are different types of bankruptcy. There's ones that protect him from his debts and things like that, and continue his businesses. So the guy's a businessman, so he's going to use whatever's at his reach to maintain his business. And so I think this guy, he's smart, man, and I think that people don't give him enough credit, and he's playing this out and making sure he has his people really close to him to make sure that they're all under the understanding this is what we're doing, this is what's happening, this is what I want, this is my goal. And I think in the second part of that is I think he's preparing a lot of these people to continue this type of response to the American people, and I think that's important. But I don't know if you heard lately, Rob Schneider, right? The little comedian, little guy. Yeah. He's thinking about running for governor in Arizona.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that'd be awesome.
He's gotten he was really disgusted by the fact that it takes this long to count ballots in Arizona.
Yeah.
And so he's thinking about running for governor in Arizona. I think that'd be great. We had Sonny Bono in California, remember? Good old Sonny.
Yeah, Sonny
until
Bono.
Cher killed him.
Yeah, she ran him into a pine tree or something like that. Mm-hmm.
But I think I really think that people now, and I think we're at a good point because of first time in a long time that a Republican has won the popular vote, along with the collegiate votes, right, that are out there.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that the left sees this and takes a lesson from it and say, all right, you know what? Let's step back. The people have spoken. Clearly, we're doing a horrible job. We need to kind of reevaluate what we're doing and kind of start bringing America back together and kind of supporting the decision of the people and say, look, let's try to build this back. Because even that speech that she gave was horrible. It was when we're still going to fight. We're going to keep fighting. I'm like, let it go. How about uniting the country and not dividing it more, and for some reason, there's a lot of things that I kind of parallel with Ronald Reagan's presidency with Trump. Like they're kind of go hand in hand a little bit. And I think that with Trump wanting to bring back God to the classrooms, God into the nation itself, kind of what Reagan did, I think that's kind of very important. I think that's something that we've lost a while back, and in Trump doing so, I don't know if you saw that video of him at a church that he went after the election. Like even his hair was combed differently. He was like, and they prayed for him. And
yes, I saw that.
Did you see that? First off,
put hands on him. Yeah.
First off, his hair looked cool. He was totally different style than typical. It was like, almost like the 50s look. But he appeared to this church in after the election, and they prayed for him. And it's kind of crazy, that you know people could believe that it's for promotions or for just trying to buy the people with some weird thing that they might by chance believe in Jesus Christ. Whether it is or not, I mean, he's bringing it back to light. Like
Right.
he's bringing it to the forefront for people to make their own decision, and I think that's important. I think that's key. We've left
Well,
that out so many times for so many reasons, and I think it's important.
well, the thing is that it has been said so long, the separation of church and state. And the whole purpose behind that was not to take church out of the schools and all those kind of things. Side note, Oklahoma is the first state in the country now. They are going to start putting Bibles back in the schools. So, and
you know how they're doing that, right? But you know how they presented that? It's part of history. Part of history.
Yeah. Well, it is. Yeah.
It is history.
I mean, our entire
it's a documented history, and the Bible is a history book.
Our entire, Constitution and everything was based. Everybody but one guy in that whole the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Only one wasn't Christian, right? I mean, so you had a lot of these guys that the originating thoughts came from that Judeo-Christian.
It's in there. People just don't want to see
value
it.
System.
People are blind to it. It's in our money. It's in our anthem. It's in everything that we do. It's the God is first and foremost. So we need to go back to that. We were a great nation. We became a great nation under God, and we need to go back to that.
Yeah, the more we walk away from it. I mean, if you look at a chart of how society has declined, you will see the decline of society when we started pulling God out of everything, and we started becoming an atheist country. I mean, it's just the way it is. You can't, everybody's like, follow the science. Well, follow the numbers. Math doesn't lie. All right. So,
but if you are going to follow the science, scientifically it can be proven. It's you can't deny it. I mean, for Christ's sakes, we base our calendar on the birth of Jesus Christ. Right. So that's scientific. So I can't get any more scientific than that.
Can't get much more scientific than that.
You can't make up dates off a fake entity, right? So
right.
Clearly, scientists have established that he existed and he was born. So
right, yeah, absolutely. And there was a big thing with folks saying that once Trump gets in, he's going to be such a sexist and bigot and all these kind of things. And for the, team that was on the other side that was supposed to be so unifying. So you have a guy that brings his first pick. Who was his first pick? Susie Wiles, right? For chief of staff.
Chief of staff, yeah.
Female was his first pick out the gate, right? And
a real woman.
A verified woman, right?
A verified certified woman.
She's got a blue check mark next to her. She, her.
USDA top choice of woman.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got so you were talking about JD Vance and, saying stuff about Trump in the past. Well, everybody knows Trump and Marco Rubio had
falling out.
They were a little bit. Yeah. And he's picking him for Secretary of State, right? So, and guess what? That first Latino in that position, right? Or we should say Latinx, right? To be a...
Oh, bro, don't even start. Oh, my God. I hate that term.
Man, yeah.
Latinx.
Yeah. I heard somebody pronounce it Latinx. It's like, man, that's it. You're digging a hole.
You're digging a hole, bro. Stop.
So he's putting Vivek and Elon, right? Vivek's from India. He's the first African
Canadian. Yeah.
African Canadian.
Yeah.
Christy Noem, she's going to be Homeland Security, right? So another female. Why? God.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Tulsi Gabbard, National Intelligence.
Isn't she like Samoan?
Yeah, she's Hawaiian,
a minority as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the big thing: Elon Musk, super lefty. Tulsi was their pride and joy. They made
co-chair of the DNC, bro.
Co-chair of the DNC, and she left. She's like, I'm out of here. RFK. Think about that. RFK doesn't agree with
A
Trump, and Trump
family
doesn't agree
line
with.
of Democrats, a family line of history that goes back to John F. Kennedy of Democrats.
Yeah, and he's going to be what, HHS,
Yeah.
Health Human Services Director or whatever, and which is amazing. So, like, who are your favorite picks out of all of these? I mean, there's some good ones.
Okay,
Mike
so
Huckabee is going to be
my
the
number
ambassador
one is
to Israel.
Tulsi Gabbard.
I have
My
to
number
agree
one
too,
pick.
man.
I'm just right now because you know what, that woman, she's smart, she's assertive, that is the embodiment of the American woman right there. You know what I mean?
Right. And here's the thing: if she would have been on the ballot as a Democrat instead of,
she probably would have won. He would
she
have
would have
lost to
won.
her. Yeah,
I'm
yeah, he
telling
would
you
have
right
lost
now,
to her.
she
Yeah,
would have
he would have
won.
lost to her. But
If she would have,
yeah, that's my number one pick of his cabinet. Second
yeah, I agree.
is going to be both Vivek and Eon. I think that's a great combo right there
It's
because
gonna be,
it's going to be funny to me.
killer.
Because I know Elon, how he does things. It's just going to, I mean, not personally, but I just, based on this, like when you took over Twitter and all those things, just how he does things is just like, he doesn't care. He's like big middle finger, like whatever,
right?
What's Pete's last name? Halgreth? How do you say his last name?
Hegseth? Yeah, the
Hegseth.
defense secretary. Yeah.
Those are my top three, but let's not take away the fact that he has nominated and placed more women in this cabinet, than any other president that I've seen.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
Elise Stefanik. She's going to be the ambassador to the UN, right?
Oh yeah,
and she's a congressman and congresswoman, I should say, congressperson in New York.
Yeah.
So he's bringing her.
He's putting a lot of these females in these roles that I think, one, that's going to allow them to shine. It's going to have a different perspective, but these are strong women. These are not these little lefty purple haired crying all the time women. These are true blooded American women.
Why do they have to be purple hair?
I don't like purple. I don't know. Reminds me of Barney. He used to scare me. Anyway,
Barney.
But you know what I mean? These are well defined under the biblical law and under the government law, that they are women. Like, they have women parts. They're not, and these are strong American women. And hey, nothing against Transformers, but what's right is right. I think there was a senator who just put in motion to allow that you have to go to the bathroom in federal buildings, in the bathroom that pertains to your gender, not your made up gender, but your true gender, which I think is great. I think women own their own privacy. There should be a lot of that privacy. Hey, if you feel like you're a woman trapped in a man's body, that's great. But don't forget, you're still trapped in a man's body. Go use the man's restroom. Leave that separation alone. Or, hey, we've spent so much money on things we don't even know. Create a third bathroom for the confused, right? It'd be men, women, confused. And there you go. That's it. But I think that there's a lot to be said with these picks that Trump has put forth. I know there's going to be a hell of a lot of resistance in Congress.
There already has been.
In affirming them, in confirming them. So, but you know what? I think it's a battle that he's strategically planning, and I think it's going to move forward. And you know what? If the left were able to get all those people that were worthless in a lot of these roles, I can't understand why he won't be able to. And it was funny because they were talking about a lot of people in the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, equity, equality and diversion are going to be quitting, if certain people get elected to these. And I'm like, I don't know if you guys understand, that whole department is going to get removed.
Right.
Guys don't have to quit. It's going to get eliminated.
Yeah.
Did you see how much money that's being spent on the DEI?
Yeah. So that is that kind of stuff that, Elon and Vivek are going after. Yeah. It's ridiculous money. So there is no need for a separate DEI kind of deal, right?
Yeah, no.
The law already protects people of color, women, religious. And here's the thing that's crazy about it. So
as long as you're not a white male, it protects everybody else.
Well, and Christian. So
and Christian, yeah.
If you're wearing like Christian-based stuff at your work and they give you crap for it, you can ask them
violating your right.
They're violating your rights. But the thing is is they don't consider that part of the, like they consider that you have a silver spoon in your mouth if you're a Christian kind of thing. And, and that's
if you're a
just,
devil worshiper and you have like devil stuff, you're okay to wear that. It's your freedom of
yeah.
speech and religion, right? But not
But
Christian.
Christian, you're offending people, right? So
That's okay, bro. That's what we do, man. We offend people.
we're offending people. I tell you, one of my favorite picks, and I'm hoping that he can get it to go through because, man, like if you ask my mom, she's heard me say his name 100 times that I really love the guy and think he's great. Matt Getz.
Oh man, I love that kid. That kid is
for AG.
Yeah, he looks weird
Bro.
to me. When I see him, there's something about him that trips me out. But I think he's so smart. I've heard him in these conversations, and he tears people apart. And now I see why they don't want him there, because he's going to eat those people alive, bro.
Yeah,
like alive.
Well, the thing is that so one of the big deals, they think that they won't be able to get him appointed through
confirmation
and everything, and so the hope is that Mike Johnson will put
recess?
Everybody on recess, and they'll do recess, and Trump could do recess appointments, and that's probably the way that they're going to have to get some of these through, because they're going to filibuster and they're going to just like, it's going to take forever, right? And that's part of the problem, is that his first time around, you said it earlier, he didn't really know he was trusting people in high positions, right?
To make those
a high position doesn't mean somebody is going to be good at their job or good at making decisions. That doesn't, I mean, it's just like same thing. You hear it all the time on the left. They'll say, oh, well, it's all these uneducated people making decisions. Well, just because you went to college doesn't mean you're super educated, right? So my grandfather didn't get past 8th grade, yet he had wealthy people coming to him to weld, because he was one of the best welders around, right? He didn't go to college for that. He learned that
on his own
as a trade on his own. And I remember him talking to me, telling me about, guys that went to welding school and how they would come out, and he's like, well, they got a bunch of theory and stuff, but they don't know what they're doing. They're putting these terrible beads on the when they're welding. And he was like, they don't have, he always called it horse sense, just common sense. And that is the problem. Colleges now are indoctrination centers, and they don't teach common sense on anything, whether it's, math, science, and all those kind of things, but they're taking so much darn time up to teach them about a bunch of nonsense that isn't going to help them in the real world, whether it's business or, whatever they're doing. And think about doctors nowadays, right? If you look at and listen to RFK, all the stuff he talks about, and some people think he's a little nutty, and I kind of think he's nutty too, and I kind of like that about him, that he is not going to set and be okay with the status quo, right? He's like, listen, we've got, I can't talk like him, sorry, can't, but I know. But he's not going to lay down and just listen to everything scientists and doctors and everybody say that goes against what is actually scientifically accurate. I mean, we can go back to all the stuff with, during COVID and all that kind of stuff, and all of the misinformation, right?
Yeah.
And probably on both sides, right? There's misinformation on both sides, but there's a lot of stuff that was with the whole vaccine thing and everything that was completely incorrect. And now they're finding out it was really bad information that was given out, and they like, ivermectin was one of those things that was brought up, and, oh, it's for horses, and you're given like, and now they're coming back and they're like, dude, it's actually good for a lot of different stuff, right?
So is bleach. People should drink more
bleach. Yeah, drink more bleach. You know what, man? That is that's one of those things that's like,
remember that?
If people are dumb enough to do that, I've yes, I do. And I'm like, so you and I went to high school together. We were around in the Ozzy days, right? Ozzy Osbourne.
Mm-hmm.
I never really cared for him particularly or his music or anything like that. But, I knew the songs because they were on MTV. Yeah. This is when MTV actually played videos, kids. Yeah. So there was this big deal that went out that he was on stage, bit a head off a bat, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Some kid in Kentucky or something like that, bit a head off a bat, got like rabies or some nonsense from it. And it's like, that was a dumb kid is what it was.
Yeah.
A dumb kid making a dumb decision. And people that were drinking bleach, again, dumb people
Yeah.
making stupid
But
decisions. The
but
average person knows better on all
that's
that
well,
kind of
that
stuff,
takes
right?
common sense. A lot of people don't have that. But
And there we go, common sense.
and to defend
So-
Ozzy, Ozzy thought it was just a rubber. He didn't really think, but when he bit into it, it was a little late. He realized it was a real bat.
How did a real bat get on stage?
That's my question. Yeah, yeah.
That's
But here's
who
the thing.
played that joke on?
Yeah, that was horrible. Where did you keep that bat to get in there? Anyway,
Yeah.
here's the thing. You did mention this earlier, real quick. You said that Kennedy's a little nutty. Here's my take on Kennedy. I think he's nutty only because he's done the research and he knows things that we don't know because we don't take the time to research it. And he's
That's right.
because they brought up something about he's the Baxter and all this other thing, but he actually took the vaccine. He actually studied, and everything that they've said about him was wrong. He said, "No, I never said that. What I said was that they've never been tested, and that if anything that goes in our body needs to go through the test, just like everything else that we have that we take, that has to be regulated." And that's my only beef. And I think that in saying that he's nutty, I think he's nutty because the guy actually takes the dude. I did for the first time I seen him without a shirt. I'm like, who is this bionic man? Bro, I didn't know he was that fit, bro. Because he reminds me of Wolfman Jack when he's talking, and then you see that body like that, bro. And I'm like, damn, bro, where you hiding that from? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I saw him at McDonald's and just destroyed me. He just killed me. But you could tell it was paining him in the airplane. Did you see that picture? They were going to the UFC fight. And they had McDonald's, and he's looking like, oh my god.
He's like, seed oils.
John Jr. said, all right, make America healthy again starts tomorrow.
So yeah. I know. He's probably like, I'm not eating any of this in here.
Yeah.
Thanks,
guys.
Right? So, you put him, so RFK is going to be HHS, right? Right now, you've got Admiral
Levine,
Rachel Levine, that is out of shape, has no clue. Oh man,
she got three chins. She got 3 chins going on, and I say she because it's a he. She's transformed, and that's who's running our health. And she was for all these mutilation of children, you know, and how could that be healthy at all? So psychologically,
so diet health. Not there. Physical health, not there, right? Mental health, definitely not there, right? So this is the idiocy of who has been picked for these positions before. And why were they picked, Joe? Why were they picked? They were picked for DEI. It was DEI, and it has ruined so much. And so those of you that are paying more for gas and for food and everything else, we need people that are in there that are going to do the job right. I don't care about there's plenty of women that's going to be on here and people of color that, and everything. I don't care. Like if they're men, women, people of color, everybody's a person.
Say color folk. I don't take offense. You can say
everybody's person's a color. It's funny when they say white people. All right. White.
Bro, you're kind of close, bro.
Right?
You're kind of
pretty close. Pretty close. I'm more of a I'm like dirty pink. Dirty pink.
You're dirty ivory. You're dirty ivory.
So you're gonna put like black next to a black person. They're not this color, right? They're a dark shade of brown or different shades of brown, right?
They're a dark shade of brown, and we're a lighter shade of brown. Ooh.
There you go. There was a song about that.
Yeah. But here's the thing. We say that only because we when we're talking about color, we're talking about differentiating different things. But to us, color doesn't matter, just the way it shouldn't matter for our country and our government. It shouldn't be. It should be the person that's best qualified for the job and not who fits criteria based under DEI.
And that's the problem, is that we have went to this whole societal system. It doesn't matter how good you are at a job or how qualified you are. It has to do with if you went to an indoctrination center and got a piece of paper that says that you're good for it, or if you have one of these special little blue check marks somewhere in your name or in your bio that says, oh, you're a great person. And, those kind of things. And I've said this before, I think for employers, it's probably one of the best things in the world, as long as your HR department isn't super skewed lefty, because most HR departments are. But, as a hiring manager, if you see, and I've heard this from, many people that have been interviewed that own businesses and stuff, and they'll say this, and you got to be careful, because you can't say these things, because it runs into some legal issues and stuff down the road. But if I see somebody with 15 pronoun things on their bio, I'm not going to hire them.
Yeah.
And why am I not going to hire them? Because these are going to be the people that are going to complain the most about everybody. Everything offends them. Everybody, and they're going to be the lawsuit happy person because somebody said something sideways to them, and again, they're going to be offended. And because we have created this whole structure in society that the most offended person gets the most legal representation, right? And it's really ridiculous. We need to bring back bullying.
Oh wow, where'd that come from?
Yeah, in
makes
schools,
you stronger. Yeah, it makes you. You know what? I'm only glad that Trump won this election, because if Kamala would have won, I was getting ready to use my pronouns they them. I was ready, because I would have gotten better jobs and stuff. I was ready to do that, and oh man, I'm glad I don't have to do it now. But anyway, I think it's important that you're valued for the hard work and dedication you put into things, and not, because think about it. You hire these DEIs, they'll be like, "Excuse me, Mr. Manager, you put me here for 8 hours. That's a lot of hours. I could only work 2.5, and I need to take a break in between." And but it's just anyway. Let's see how this all pans out at the end next year. Going to be some challenges, some uphill challenges, and we can only pray for our leaders in government that they make the right decision for the right reason and for the people, because again, it is the people who elected them, and it is for the people that they work for. So let's just make sure that as a society we pray for our leaders, regardless if you voted for them or not. We have to understand that they're the ones running this government, and we want to avoid any kind of World War III. We want to avoid any kind of famine. We want to avoid any kind of bankruptcies going on. So let's pray for them, and that they make the right decision. And I think that's the only thing we have to say about that, is just like, whether you like him or not, whether he's your pick or not, let's pray for our leaders, because they are our leaders, and let's pray for them. And it's and it's in the Bible, man. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar, and to God what is God. So let's do the right thing, and pray for for healing of our nation first and foremost. So that's all I have to say about that.
Yep. Well, there are a few dates. December 11th is the certificate of ascertainment of appointments of electors is going to happen. December 17th is the meeting and vote of the electors. So the different states and all that, all the
electoral college.
Yeah. So or end of December, which will be on this year, it happens to land on December 25th, is the electoral votes are received. So everybody's Christmas present this year.
Yay.
Yeah. January 3rd, the 119th Congress convenes, and representatives elect the senators, and they'll swear in the new Congress and all that kind of stuff. On January 6th, we all know this date because, this is when the supposed alleged insurrection happened. But this is when Congress counts the electoral votes. And here's kind of the crazy thing, is that the vice president has to certify everything. So kind of weird. I don't know. Seems like a slap in the face. And then January 20th will be the actual inauguration day and the swearing in of the 47th president of the United States.
See you guys there. We'll be in Washington, D.C. live. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
I wish.
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt to try, though. Wouldn't hurt to try.
Hey, you never know. We might win the lottery between now and then, and off we go.
So off we're on.
All right, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show today. It's a little bit of a, rehash. I'm sure you've watched 100 things on the election and everything, but we kind of wanted to wait a couple weeks. Joe and I talked about this, and we were going to do an election recap right after, but there was so much vitriol going on with everything. We wanted to wait a couple weeks before, some of his folks that were going to be in his cabinet and stuff were decided, and, the elections in all the states and everything. So we could see that the Senate and House were going to the right, going to the red. So, all right, everybody. Well, enjoy yourselves. and we'll see you next week. Remember, everybody, take care of one another.
Do better, be better.
And as always,
God
God bless
America.
America.
We'll see you next week, guys.